melt this when I'm ocean wave.
Tonight on Nova Legends podcast, I have Battlefield coach Randall Bills, whose team plays Patriot in rivalry week at Battlefield High School on Friday at 7:30. Coach, thanks for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having us. I love being on. I love how you cover Northern Region basketball, and it's awesome. It's awesome. So thank you.
Well, thanks, Coach. I appreciate you coming on. Whenever you can get an undefeated coach on your podcast, you're doing something.
Well, everybody wants to win the last one, so that's the goal, right?
Yeah, win the last one. As last year proved. It's nice to win during the regular season, but it's even nicer to win in the state tournament.
Agreed.
Well, I was talking to Coach Sherman earlier today and talking about rivalries. What does a rivalry mean to Battlefield? Now, I know they had a great football rivalry this year. I think they might have split, but I believe Patriot got the best of them in the playoffs. Maybe I got that wrong, but I know there were big games in football this year. You guys had the incredible games last year, packed houses. The game-winning shot that Hammersley made. It was just unbelievable environment. But what does this rivalry mean to Battlefield? This is the growing part of Prince William County. You guys are Haymarket, they're Nokesville. How do you view the rivalry?
I love it because it's something that happens in like all the sports, right? It's not just the ones that get all the publicity with basketball and football. It's swim and dive, it's golf, it's tennis, it's the ice hockey game that went, they tied 4-4 after Friday our game at Osborne. Like it's just 9 miles separate us, so they grow up together, they're playing together, all throughout youth leagues, and to have it kind of on the big stage, where they can, continue that rivalry. I think it's awesome. And I think, what Sherman's done over there and what we've done over here at Battlefield, like, has created that. And it's awesome when it comes to a basketball standpoint.
Yeah. Are your kids friendly with their kids? Do they get along off the court, or what is the level of tension between the teams?
As far as I know, obviously, some of them hang out outside of school. And then, obviously when we're playing each other, it's a little bit different, right? It's like, we can be friends off the floor, but, on the floor, it's like, hey, we're trying to win, you're trying to win. And, we'll try to do everything we can to make it happen. I don't know, after last year, their thoughts on everything, if some of that likeness went away, but again, it's high school basketball. We're just here to have a good time and help, us as coaches help players become the best people that they can be.
Yeah. You guys do a great job of that. So when you look back on last year, what was the matchup like? I think they won 4 and you won 1, I believe, right?
Correct.
What was the matchup like, and how were you able to win the game in the state semifinal?
So the first game, we had the ball a few times late in the game, and it was just, kind of the kids that were in the game just were never in those moments where the ball was in their hands and they had to make the play. And, we had one of them was a charge call on Hassan, and then the other one, Bryce, got a charge call and he should have shot the ball. So for the next game was senior night. So like the emotions of senior night, I think played a little bit of a role. Then they crushed us in the district final. I think it was probably 18 or 20 points. And then the region final, I think they got up 26 or 27 on us. And then we, fought back to 1.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like the deflation of all deflations, where you're like, all right, well, we can either, get blown out by 40, or we can try to mount this comeback. And then it was just like one possession at a time, and we'd hit a 3 or get an and 1 or get a layup. And, then you started to feel the energy in the crowd come back, right? Because you're down by 26, that crowd, is just there, right? And so, the crowd started getting back into it. It ended up being like a 12-point game because I think we just ran out of gas. But, to go from 26 to 1, there was something that I was like, okay, we take care of Manchester. We're going to see them yet again for a 5th time. So, and then obviously similar situation where Hassan, dribble penetrated, where last time he turned the ball over out to Hammersley, who hit the shot, who didn't shoot it last time that he had the opportunity. And it was kind of like, the redemption for those two from the first game, 2 months before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then he made I'm sorry, Coach. But
no, you're good.
Yeah. Then he made a great defensive play on the other end as well to preserve victory.
Yep.
So one thing that comes to mind is one of your best players last year was Chase Nelson, a tremendous point guard. I believe he's at Massanutten.
Yep.
First of all, how are Chase and Bryce? How are they doing? How are your graduating seniors doing?
They're good. Chase is having a good time. He's swung by practice a couple times, come in, and we've had some good conversations about the transition from high school now to prep school, and what the future holds for him. I think he's looking at some things now. And Bryce is just being a student. A lot of kids, go in with aspirations of playing, high school basketball and then getting on to college. And Bryce, was just playing basketball to have a good time, and he's having a good time in college right now.
Did you worry in the off season about replacing those guys, especially Chase's his explosiveness at the point guard position?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely, and Chase's ability to stretch the floor too. He also was able to handle the pressure and play some really good defense for us. So, yes, yes, to answer your question in short, we obviously have had the core guys coming back with Ty and Maddox and Ryan and Haas and Manny, and expected some things from some of the returning seniors. One of our guys who we expected to start for us ended up tearing his ACL in the first scrimmage. And then who's
that coach?
Andy Gonzalez.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it's and he went through last year with some injuries too. So it's a freak accident that it's tough. It's tough. And then who he was going to replace Chase, and then the one that we thought would kind of counter with Andy got injured, and it's kind of one of those nagging ankle injuries where 1 week it feels good, the next week if it doesn't feel good, and it's just been we thought we had replacements. Obviously you can't replace what Chase did for us in the region tournament and the state tournament as well. Like he crushed it then. We're just trying to find some fillers. So.
Well, let's talk about this year's team. Maddox Tenix is a shooter, plays very simple, quick release, great concentration on a shot. You can have a guy in his face, doesn't matter. Kid, really high concentration level. At least when I've seen him play, it's gone well. The other kid, Hamad, I always mess his name up. Great body, great penetrator, can dish. Then you have the post player, Durian, I believe. Nice body, very active, boxes out, just very active, great defender. So talk more about your team. What am I missing? I know you have a guy that plays football that came off the bench, and I really like. He's like Charles Barkley type.
Yes. So we have our other three returning seniors. Ty Gordon, who's actually going to go play football at Syracuse.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that's the excitement of that, right? Like again, not a full-time basketball kid. He's a full-time football kid. Manny King, he's the guy that wears the goggles. Before every game, it's Manny, who do you want to guard? Because he just takes so much pride in guarding, whoever it is on the other side that we as a coaching staff and some of the guys think like, he should be guarding. Then Carter Cramp is the guy that has the ponytail that comes in. Well, now he starts because Ty's not here right now. But Carter is very, very active on the defensive side, and he's probably going to go play D3 soccer somewhere. Super strong, super active, and again, just like Manny, like he takes pride in the defensive side. And now, as of recently, he's been stepping up on the offensive side a little bit, either hitting threes or just kind of relieving some of the pressure for us in the full court and half court. And then
Oh, I'm sorry, Coach. You got one more.
No, well, I was going to go to just the guys off the bench. Aiden Flores, Brandon Minkowski are two guys that are figuring out high school basketball. Brandon's a wideout for the football team who is playing basketball for the first year this year. He played at camps and all that stuff, but he's, it's a learning process with some of them. And Aiden is a kid that he'll be, hopefully dunking on people soon.
Yeah. I enjoyed watching the stocky kid with the ponytail garden, Jordan Scott in the South Lakes game.
Yeah.
He's a deceptively effective player. Also handles the ball really well. You can't judge a book by its cover in basketball. That kid's a player.
Correct.
So what's the culture? What's the culture like on your team? They look like they're good kids. They work hard. What is it like in practice? What is it like hanging around this team?
Well, it's a lot of fun. We got some characters on the team, and it's good to keep it light. Again, we're going to be together, every day, a few hours a day. I'm texting them, they're texting me. We're going through stuff so that relationship. You got to be able to be yourself. And I noticed a change after winter break. This last week or so, where everybody just seems be a little bit looser, a little bit more open to be who they actually are, rather than maybe they were holding it in the beginning of the year. And I think that's kind of lessening some of the tensions that they might have in how they're playing. They're playing a little bit looser, and you have the 6 returning guys that have been with me since basically freshman year. They go through COVID together. We go through last year together, and now you got those 6, and then you got a bunch of new guys that are trying to come together. And it's still a little bit of a work in progress, trying to figure out some things, but that's why we do it. And the senior class is being great as far as holding the other guys accountable, and then the other guys are open to that constructive criticism to help us.
Yeah, that's one. It's interesting to describe a 14-0 team or 15-0 team as a work in progress. I think it's working pretty well. So, what were your off-season expectations going in? Would you have been surprised to know you're undefeated at this point in the season?
I think at this point, yes. Our off-season stuff, I like to get away, and I like them to get away. I don't want my voice to be the only voice that they hear all off-season long. So whether it's AAU that they're playing or just get away from me for a little while, I think that my voice and the assistant coach's voice have a little bit more meaning as the season progresses. We had some kids that, unfortunately left Battlefield to go to other schools that we had with us during the off season. We had some JV kids that were playing with us just because we didn't have, 5 of the kids, because they all played football. So they weren't with us for that off season. So we had to fill some of those voids, just with bodies, to be honest. And, so they're down on JV. JV's undefeated right now still. And, we got that group of guys that, but the core was around and having a good time.
Yeah. Well, one thing about your undefeated season is you've had a lot of close games, which is good.
Yes.
when you blow out teams as a coach, you just never know how you're going to react to a close game. When you need a big possession, big shot, when you have to get a big stop, you don't know how those things are going to work out if you haven't been in that situation. But
Correct.
South Lakes, Forest Park, Independence, Freedom South Riding, they were all close games. Actually, you got a big win against a very well-regarded Stonebridge team. So tell us about those narrow wins.
So let's see, the South Lakes game. I mean, we knew Desmond knows, he does his research. He knows what he's doing. And he's going to have his kids ready to go. Early on, a good test, right? Because you get to see what up to that point has accomplished for you. Yeah. In Forest Park, Mac does a fantastic job over there getting his kids to buy in and getting his kids ready to go. That big boy he's a lot to handle. We struggled with a little bit with
What's his name, Coach? The big guys. He's being recruited by South Carolina. Do you have his name or?
I do not. Okay. I'm sorry. I just know he's a big boy that goes to Forest Park.
I've heard a lot of good things. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he's fantastic. His footwork's great. And he's young too, so he's only going to get better. and then Independence, Brian Nelson, who was formerly, the varsity coach at Robinson when I was the JV coach over there. So he knows what I'm trying to do, and I know what he's trying to do. And he's putting together. First year is always tough too. So it's been fantastic. And then last night with Freedom South Riding, is good. You can't create those in practice, because they're like, oh, I'm just playing against my buddy, and to have them in games and put them in those stressful situations, helps you prepare for this Friday night.
Were you surprised that they were able to stay with you guys?
For who? Freedom?
Yeah, Freedom.
No, I mean they move the ball. They are crisp with everything. Their back cuts are there. Their ability to shoot the ball is there. Like they're patient. They're super patient. And I hats off to them for coming out and competing. Every possession last night. It was a fun game, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, you were talking about how you knew the Independence team real well because of your relationship with Coach Nelson, but you know Patriot really well.
Yep.
And I know you guys really well. Is it complicated to play a team when both teams know each other that well?
Yeah, I think it is, because you got to find like one, if you can find one or two things that are like different, or little nuances that maybe his players do now, that they might have not done last year, or when they make the subs here or make the subs there. Like you're just trying to find that little bit of an advantage. So we just go back and forth in our coaches chat, and it's like, all right, if you're him, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? You're like, what do you got up your sleeve, for the sixth time, and very, very close amount of time. So we're just watching film and figuring it out, and trying to put our basketball knowledge together, and get these kids prepared.
Are you entering this game at 100% healthy?
Well,
Besides Gonzalez? Yeah.
Well, Ty is out. But he's on a how should I say it, a family sabbatical, we'll say that. But he will be back with us on the 19th or 20th of January. But Ashton Evans, who's another guy that we were looking for, he's battling the ankle injury. He was in practice a little bit today, and we'll monitor it and see how it goes. But everybody else is ready to go.
Yeah. So what are some of the keys to the game when you think about Patriot? What are the things that Battlefield needs to do to be successful?
I mean, handle the pressure. We know it's coming, whether it's the run and jump or the traps or the full court man. And we just have to be able to handle that pressure. And then when we get in the half court set, just executing whatever movement that our guys are doing, whether it's a screen, whether it's a cut, whether it's a backdoor, whether it's the shot, or move to the basket. Like they just need to execute it, better than we have, in some of the previous games.
Yeah. Well, on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is this game? One being mildly important, 10 being the end of the world if we lose. Where would you put this game?
Well, I put it at the end of the world, just because we're still going, right? The season is still going regardless. I would say like 8.5 to 9. Just because we want to continue to prove that last year wasn't a fluke. At the end, and we just want to make sure that we're setting the tone going forward in this conference.
So when you look ahead to the rest of the season, not to have you look beyond this game, but generally, who are some of the other contenders in Region 6B?
I mean, obviously Potomac is there. Mills is doing a fantastic job over there. Forest Park is there. I haven't watched too much of Freedom Woodbridge, but I know those two guards can go and score in very, very lots of bunches. And I honestly think that Colgan, anything can happen in the district tournament, and Jason's got his guys, in a position to maybe make some noise over there on that side.
Yeah. Well, Coach, last question.
Yeah.
If my son and I make the long trek out to Haymarket tomorrow, are we going to be able to get in the gym, or are they going to sell us out and leave us on the outside looking in?
I'd like to think that there's going to be some seats there, because it's just, I don't know, it's a regular season game, right? As opposed to the state semifinals when like people were scalping those tickets for double and triple the price. If not, just let me know.
Okay.
I'll get you in.
I need to get a media pass. I need 2 media pass, one for the Nova Legends and one for my photographer. So
all right, there you go. I'll forward you the email address to the DSA if you don't have it. We'll make it.
I'm just kidding, Coach. It's okay. We'll figure it out. It's probably the type of game where it's going to be crowded at the JV game. You're gonna have to time it just right.
So, yeah, my assistant coach was talking. He's like, I usually get here about 6:30 for the varsity games, but I'm probably gonna have to get here a little bit earlier this game.
Yeah,
so,
it's a big. How much does how many people does the gym hold?
I think it's around like 15, maybe 1,500.
Wow,
I think
it's going to be tight.
It's going to be tight. It's going to be tight. There's, I mean, if the hype surrounding, what are they, eight or 9 in the post, and we're 10 in the post, like. Yeah. I gotta imagine that there's going to be a lot of people there.
Yeah. Well, look, Coach, this has been great. Thanks for your great analysis of both teams and also your players. I wish you the best of luck. I think it's going to be an exciting game, and I really think people from Northern Virginia should make a trek out there. This is the game to see this Friday.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for having me, and we'll see you on Friday.
Yeah. See you soon, Coach. Good luck.
See you later.